Good morning. What can you do if you want to start creating an online course, but you just can't make the time at the moment, or to be honest, you just don't have the space in your head to really get stuck in and thinking about it? So this is a dilemma a few people have shared with me. It's like, oh, Sue, yeah, thanks for your advice, but it's too much. I just don't know where to start. I just can't even start. Right, so at some point you do have to do something, all right? And so really what I'm just trying to do today is give you a few ideas of what you could do to start the process off without actually thinking, oh, I'm creating a course. And I will just say there's the guys outside digging up the path. There's a digger, there's fences, and they're all kind of peering in. So anyway, I hope you can't hear them all. It's quite distracting. But anyway, I decided I would do this. So I think probably the best, if you're in that situation, the best place to start really would be, therefore, instead of thinking, oh, I'm going to start working on my course, if you don't have the headspace ready for that, then that's not going to work, is it? But what you could do is, what other foundational piece of your business can you usefully work on? Okay. So for example, what about audience building? What audience building activities could you be doing? Because, you know, let's face it, if you're wanting to sell online courses, then you need an audience for that. And really that your kind of audience building should be something that's going on all the time anyway, but probably, yeah, it gets kind of pushed to one side a bit as well, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Right, so audience building, I've just got some notes there. So audience building, then first of all, the first question is, who is your audience? Do you actually know who they are? Can you define who they are? In last week's Crafty Course chat, the newsletter, you can sign up from my link in bio. That comes out every fortnight at the moment, and I was asking questions on this subject about audience, and I think I come up with 15 questions to give you a prod to kind of work out who and what your audience is, right? So this is like a business building fundamental, isn't it, your audience? If you are purposely building an audience already, fantastic, that's really great, keep on doing what you're doing. But I know for quite a lot of people, then it's like it's another thing to do, and no, I don't really know who my audience is. So if you wanted to get those 15 questions, then just drop me a DM and I'll forward on last week's newsletter for you, so you don't miss out on that. But that's all well and good, is thinking about building your audience. But a key fundamental here when we're talking about working towards working on an online course is your current audience actually the audience for your proposed course or courses? For example, if you have a following of people who buy your art, are they the same people who want to learn from you to make whatever it is that you're going to teach them? Is that the same audience? It may be. Or it may be that you have, you know, perhaps a kind of a high-end art product that people buy. They're interested in buying your art. They're not interested in trying to make it for themselves. They're probably not a maker. Okay? Is your audience full of other makers all cheering, you're all cheering each other on? Yeah, that's great, brilliant. But they never actually buy because they're fellow makers who are selling their art to other people as well. So just look at your following and your audience. What I'm talking about with audience. So is your current audience buyers who wouldn't want to learn from you? Is your audience a load of fellow makers who may or may not want to learn from you? Who are your key audience that you would be aiming to teach? It could be that currently you don't have an audience of people who want to learn from you. You have an audience of fellow makers or buyers of your art. So I think that is a fundamental point here, that if you're going to be looking at online courses, you may be looking at having to create an audience, totally different audience. Who knows, right? So just, something important to think about, and I think it can get missed as well, that it could be a different audience that you're looking at. So do you actually know if your current audience, and so your audience, people on Instagram, people on Facebook, people on YouTube, people on your email letter, friends, who, that's all of those people are your audience. Do you actually know what it is that they would like to learn from you? Are they already asking you questions? Oh, wow, how did you do that? Oh, I love that. I'd love to be able to do that, but oh, it looks a bit hard, or I don't know how to do it, blah, blah, blah. So are they already asking you how to do these things? That's a brilliant indication. Have you asked them what they would like to learn from you? Okay, so you can do things like, you can do stories on Instagram and ask questions, ask people to, when they respond, it goes into your DMs. You could send out, create a survey, things like on Google Forms. You can create, it's free, you can create a survey and you're not restricted to the number of questions. Like people sometimes use SurveyMonkey, that's their free offering. That's 10 questions, that might be enough. But the Google Forms one's great, and then you can see all the responses as well, and kind of graphically represent them. So it's really handy. So have you asked them? And it may be that sometimes if you give people would you like to learn from me? They'll be kind and say yes. What can be more useful is to kind of give them a choice of 3 things, for example. Would you like to learn this thing, or this thing? And then people have kind of got to make a choice and a decision. So you may need to, this is all an experiment. It's all an experiment. What works for one person doesn't work for another. And, what can you find out from your audience and think about, these are the things that they're wanting to learn from me. What can you do, therefore, to grow and attract your learners' audience, the audience of people who would like to learn from you? So what can you do to attract them in? So when we're looking at this idea of building your audience, then let me just so you need to get clear on who they are. So if you're going to start teaching people, then get clear on who they are, and getting down to kind of the age range, or the skill level, or the subject matter, or the kind of style. So you might think, well, other people teach black work or gold work or whatever, but everybody's got their own artwork style, which attracts a different level of audience as well. Okay, and if you already have people in your world, people who follow your Facebook page or your Instagram profile, then particularly on your Instagram, if you set that up, change it over to be a business profile, then you have access to the insights, and that tells you exactly who your current audience is in terms of their age range, where they are, those kind of things. You can get some really powerful insights. So go and have a dig into all of your different analytics. Same with if you have a presence on YouTube, or go and dig into your Google Analytics on your website as well. And you're probably groaning, oh God, Sue, really? It's all part of understanding who that audience is. All right, so there's another little task for you. You may want to, in terms of attracting a different audience, go back and review your social media profiles, your Instagram bio, for example. Does it make it clear that you teach a particular skill? Does it just talk on about the fact that you like dog walking and gardening, and oh, by the way, I do a bit of stitching? You may need to go back and review those to make sure that it's very clear that you teach these particular subjects. Okay? Same with when you come to the stuff that you post on social media. And again, it can be, I'm just as bad. We'll kind of not always post regularly, or like think, oh no, I shan't do a live today. There's diggers and things out there, but we just have to do it sometimes, don't we? But what sort of things are you posting? And do you have like a general plan? And again, if you want to attract an audience of makers, of learners to your profiles, then you're going to have to start doing some teaching. So have you been doing some little videos You know, in reels, we don't have to be all dancing and pointing and carrying on. You know, a 15-second shot of you doing a stitch or whatever it is can be really useful as well for people. So if you want to start attracting an audience of learners, you need to start doing some teaching, okay? And it's also a really great idea to think about just generally what you're posting. So yes, it's lovely to escape and go for a nice kind of walk by the sea or whatever. Those kind of things are sometimes better off in stories. That's a really great use of stories, is to kind of a bit more about the behind the scenes and what you're doing, and maybe kind of refigure your Instagram grid or your posts on Facebook to be more geared around being attractive and interesting to your learning audience that you're trying to build. If you're selling art and want to attract a learning audience, then obviously it's going to be a blend of the two, isn't it? And you're going to be inspiring people. Right, and then the other thing, of course, is the dreaded email marketing. Is a really great way to start building an audience, because you own that audience. Okay, you're attracting them and you own them on your email marketing platform. So again, I know this can, another thing to do, Sue. Email marketing will benefit whatever you're doing in your business, but certainly for course sales, then email marketing really comes into its own. So again, it may be at the moment you've been offering the same freebie thing forever. Is it time to have a look at how you can use your email marketing to grow your audience of potential learners? So for example, so what is your offer? Do you need to create a new one? Okay, so it might be a little short freebie, kind of a pattern and a couple of videos, so people can get a taste of what it's like to learn from you. Okay, so if you're going to create a freebie, then make sure it is in alignment with your course, your kind of general course idea, or so it's some kind of teaching thing. All right, preferably again, if you think, oh well, I'm going to do something on black work, then you would do a black work freebie. All right, and then it leads naturally into that. When you start talking about marketing your course, then you've already got an audience of people who've tried some of your black work stuff before. So you may need to have a look at what you're doing currently for your email marketing. It may be okay for your art sales, or it may just need a kick up the ass in general, but certainly you need to think about what can I create for my learner audience that I want to attract. Now it may be that you don't have any kind of existing learners audience, or you don't really know who they are if they're on your email list. So it may be that you want to create a separate list with a separate offer that you can market separately and attract people in to sign up for. So things like MailChimp and lots of other email marketing programs, you can tag people so you know that they are a potential learner rather than a potential buyer. Okay, so there's things like that you can really start to look at with a fresh pair of eyes and say, is this actually relevant to attracting an audience of learners? Try and develop a kind of a general plan therefore for your email marketing, your kind of content in general, and kind of think, well, actually what I'm looking at is I'm going to start attracting an audience of learners. What can I do to show how I teach and the kind of background to all of that? So that's something that you can start to be doing. And you may have a really brilliant freebie, but how often do you actually promote it? Does it just sit there gathering dust, or do you actively encourage people to come and sign up? Yeah, so that's something else you could find 10 minutes a week to do to promote your freebie, which may be a really good one, but maybe nobody knows about it. Okay, little video tutorials, back to kind of 15-30 second reels. They need a bit of, they need more than 15 seconds of planning, yeah, but that could be something quite handy to get used to, kind of filming your hands, for example. you're not spending hours creating a 30-second reel. So there's some ideas of background tasks. And I know it sounds like another great long list of things to do, but rather than just diving in saying, okay, I'm going to create an online course, oh, I'm too overwhelmed, I haven't got enough time. Things like organising your social media profiles, considering your audience, and looking at your email marketing are all kind of base business building activities anyway. And it may be that you're just thinking, I just don't know where to start. It's too much, it's too much. If you're still feeling that this kind of advice is causing you stress and overwhelm, then I gently but firmly encourage you that you really need to stop and pause and assess what it is about your situation. And being the blunt Yorkshire person that I am, change can only happen with change. So if you just keep on going around in the same old hamster wheel feeling stressed and overwhelmed, then you're always going to be going around the hamster wheel feeling stressed and overwhelmed. At some point you've got to press that pause button and work out, well, what of all these things that I'm doing, what actually is not working? What is just proving to be an utter waste of time that I can just stop? Okay? Or where can I find an hour a week to spend on building up my business, getting ready to create a course? All right. And again, as I posted the other day, that it can feel just another overwhelming thing to try and sit down and work out what to do next and how to stop being overwhelmed. And sometimes that's where spending an hour with somebody, that's the sort of thing I do, I've been doing it quite often recently, is to kind of like have a kind of a mentor meeting and just kind of listen and work out what can be changed, and therefore let's put a plan together to move forward. So that is something that I've been increasingly asked about. So whoever you kind of find speak to, I think if you're at that constantly stressed and overwhelmed phase, you do need to stop and you do need to reach out and find somebody who can help you pause and then look at building to move forward. Otherwise, you're going to make yourself ill, you know. So there we are. Those are some ideas about how you can actually still be doing work that your business needs, laying a foundation to be able to then move forward with an online course when you're ready. And let's face it, audience building and sorting out your email and perhaps looking at the content you're producing on social media is never a waste of time and will benefit all aspects of your business and may even actually help you to feel less stressed if you actually start taking some of those small steps. So I encourage you to sign up for my Crafty Course Creators workbooks. There's 3 valuable resources in there about how you can look at everything that you need to do to create an online course. And there's a checklist in there and some kind of tech tools in there. And then there's a few emails go out once a day, and then once they're done, then you get an email once a fortnight with the Crafty Course chat. And say last week's, if you want a copy of that, I was asking 15 questions about your audience, and this has been an addition to that. And I shall be looking in the next few weeks, I will be looking at a lot of these issues about how you can deal with the things that are holding you back from creating your course. So there we are. Looks like the digger's coming back, so I'll leave it at that. Any questions, of course, just drop me a DM. Always delighted to hear from you and help you. And I'm cheering you on. I'm always here as your cheerleader. Okay then, have a lovely rest of the Friday and have a lovely weekend. Bye.